Right, 2125, good luck. So we've not played before, we have no head-to-head score there. 1700 games for my opponent. Okay, let's go d5. Let's just play e6, bring the knight up, the bishop up somewhere, get castled. Okay, so we're going to end up with this structure then. Still develop just so we've got the option to castle. Let's throw a pawn forward and see where the bishop's going to go. Goes back over. Can I just develop here? Queen down's a little bit of a nuisance. If I go here, it gives me the option to potentially push if I need to. I think we're going to see something like this coming. So I wonder whether to sack a pawn to get rid of the bishop. No, I'm going to chuck this pawn forward. It's a little bit dubious, this. I think my opponent, the way they played the opening, I think they're going for a really aggressive approach, like flying everything down the board. So I'm just going to chuck my pawn up the board on this side as well. And I'm going to just keep pushing. So push that one as well. Just take back. You could take here first. He doesn't. So we'll pin the knight. And I'm still considering knight up and allowing a pawn to go, but we get rid of that dangerous bishop. So how do we do this? Even if I bring the bishop up and we come around the angles, we're not really wanting to go here anyway. So I'm going to prepare this sort of concept just to try and deal with the bishop this way. Okay, so I think we can do that now, but this pawn's going to be loose. But let's go here anyway. So we're going to end up with a loose pawn here after the knight moves, but we're going to try and get rid of this bishop, very dangerous. Then this bishop is probably going to come back, oh, excuse me, at some point. Let's go here, aim to come back, but this is loose. There might be some sort of tactic relying on this pin. That's what my opponent's gone back for there. So we've got an option to trade or drop back. Dropping back seems a common sense approach, so that's what I'm going to do. And now I've got an option to move the knight. Again, I could potentially sack a pawn to try and take some pressure off the center. It might not be good, but we've got the option. Then maybe this knight forward or bring this knight back and try and come to the other side of the board. It's going to be awkward to deal with these split pawns though. But equally, we've got a target up here if we can ever get to it. Not sure we ever can, but there's a target. Okay, that gives us a target here. But it also gives my opponent a big target, doesn't it? How do we deal with this? I don't see. Do we play a move like rook across and effectively sack this pawn and try and come around the back? Now I can play a move like knight back or knight back this way and try and trade the bishop and put the queen on this file. That seems sensible. The knight's a little bit misplaced. We're taking pressure away from here. But yeah, you can just see it's one of them where this attack is going to be coming. So I'm looking at this idea to put pressure on the pawn. I'm going to do that. I'm going to hit this pawn. I'm going to effectively try and sack one and swap one for another. I know right now my queen covers that. I'm aware of that. But as a concept, I'm going to try and just swap the two outer pawns and try and get my rook forward. Because we can see what's coming from white. You could see it from the way the opening was played, that the general intention. So very dangerous. Okay, well that gives me knight forward as a tempo, but where does the knight actually go after that? Maybe we go here. We can't go here because of this, but it's a natural tempo to go forward though. Knight's doing absolutely nothing where it is, so I might as well go forward and kick that rook. But we're still now not attacking the pawn, so I'm just looking at a move like, sorry, my arrows are terrible. Out of the way to try and deal this bishop. You can trade or you can obviously drop back. Okay, comes forward. So is a move like queen up or queen across sensible now? Try and just simply trade the queen. That could be. Actually, queen up could be, because then we can try and push on, but... No, queen up you just take and lose my bishop. That's no good. That wouldn't be any good. But this knight, very misplaced, so I'm going to play queen across. Actually, why have I done that? I've literally just sacked the pawn, haven't I? My queen was guarding the pawn. I should be able to win this one back if the queens come off, though it takes a lot of pressure off. So take here, I'll jump in over, I guess. Now we might have to play a move like g5 just to take some pressure off these pieces. We might as well take it as a free pawn. Okay, so I'm going to go forward with the knight and hit this pawn twice. I don't think you can push it or guard it and protect it. So now the tension is going to turn to this one or blasting through. And then I've got a dilemma. Do I go with the knight or the rook if we get a chance to take? Because the knight could be redeployed to a better square. Where here, not really got anywhere to go, nothing to target. So I've got a big weakness here, but otherwise not too bad. But you can imagine if this opens up, could become a little bit of a problem. And yeah, I'm looking at g5 just to take pressure off these two pieces as well. And now the queen's not on the board, it's not quite so critical, I don't think. Now here I think I've got a very natural move just to drop the bishop back. Now the bishop's protected by not one but two rooks, and it means my knight can now move and I can trade the bishop as well. Just got this problem, but we still hit this pawn twice. But we are a pawn down. The rook across I'll just take with the knight and I'll try and redeploy the knight back over. That's my idea anyway. Probably go with the knight and leave the rooks defending for now. But obviously all we can do is worry about our move when it's our turn, but I'm expecting a move like e4. But then can I do g5? Okay, he's gone across with the rook. So it's probably going to aim to double up here. That's quite dangerous actually, isn't it? That's dangerous, but can I stop it? I'm not sure I can. I'm going to end up going defensive. But where are you going to go though? Right now they're all covered up trying to double this way. So I'm just going to take with the knight and jump back. Because there isn't actually any infiltration squares for the rook to try and bring the both onto the 7th rank. At least not now. There is a move like bishop back, of course, and then I'm going to have to vacate. But the actual squares are still covered. So we might have to play a move like knight across here. But then if we trade, the rook can then start doubling up. So do I want to play back and encourage this? Take. If we can shift this pawn, we've got a potential check threat. The knight's not doing anything where it is again, so we'll bring it back towards the center a little bit. But I think I'm going to have to do g5 at some point. Or move the knight and trade. My opponent might even take the knight in order to deflect the bishop. Because then you've got a square for the rook to double up, and then I'm going to be having to use a rook to defend, and that's going to be awkward. So I'll pre-move that in case takes. Might not do, but... Well, the bishop's gone right back to defend the pawn. But now can I do something like this? But then you've got a rook here. But then king across, and you can't double up, can you? So maybe here might be a move with a view to pushing on. Here, what do you do? The rook just retreats back somewhere, I think, but I don't want the rook staying there, so I'm going to challenge the rook. I might even look at g5 in any event and try and just march the king forward, because I'm not seeing any better plan. But if that's not a target, maybe the knight should be coming back over. Okay, he's just gone there to challenge that bishop and now the pawn. I might have pushed my opponent to a better square, actually. Might have made a mistake with that. We may have made a mistake, so... What about knight back and across? Yeah. See, there's this annoying move, isn't there? And this is getting very loose. I'm going to just drop the bishop back. You can't actually take because of the check and I win the rook. So So I'm going to put the bishop onto this diagonal now and stop the bishop coming here to kick my rook away. So he just comes back. Is it one of them where we don't have any way to really make progress, so it might be just a draw? Because I've not really got anywhere to actually break through, have I? Okay, let's see if my opponent chooses to repeat here. I'm coming back if he does. Okay, that's a draw. I didn't realise it was going to actually do a draw on that move there. I thought I had one more repetition to go. So we've managed to draw this one. Let's just see if we did have any prospects to do anything or not. But it was a very level game, wasn't it? So let's just put it through the engine. 28 moves we've got to. And I will lose some rating for that game there because I was the slightly higher rated player. So it's cost me a little bit of rating that. What was it? Well, 1 point I've lost there. My opponent gained 2. I've lost 1. So it could have been worse. So yeah, when I sack the pawn here, white has actually begun +3-6 better and then +2-9. So we both blundered around here somewhere. So what have we done? 80% versus 78%. Our centre pawn lost 38 for both of us. My average is 32. So one of them games where it's not quite the best. So taking with the knight was actually a blunder. And white is much better. Yeah, that idea, bishop here to kick the rook. Maybe the rook, when you wander up somewhere, you end up coming under attack. So h3 was a blunder. Should have gone the bishop g3. And the engine is saying I need to give up the rook there. Now that I didn't see, of course. But the engine is saying there's no good squares for the rook to go to. Obviously, on the face of it, there's 3 squares. But the engine is saying none of them are any good whatsoever. So maybe it's due to a move like rook coming down. So in the end there, obviously, we've essentially, after we've got through that, we are flatline 0.0 level. So draw's a fair result. So not too bad.